Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle Matters. Of course, healthy lifestyle does matters. Welcome to another episode of Health Talks. Okay, hello guys, welcome back. On today's topic we're gonna be talking about night sweat. Okay, I have a lot of people ask me to talk about this, that at night, like before getting up, their whole body is soaked with sweat. Like, what is the cause of it? What happened that they feel like whenever they get up in the morning, their whole bed is soaked. Okay, so guys, today we're gonna be talking about night sweat, alright? And I want to tell you something that is really surprising. I know it's surprising because it was surprising to others who asked me questions. But of course, it is a surprising thing. Okay, we're gonna talk about night sweat. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know, or are you on the fact that, do you agree with me that menopause can affect or can cause you to have a night sweat? Do you know that? Yeah, menopause can cause you to have a night sweat. Okay, do you know that menopause can cause night sweat? Of course it does. Okay. Of course it does. So without wasting of time, let's dive into the definition of what night sweat is, some of the causes of night sweat, and remedies to night sweat. Okay, we're talking about night sweat, like when you go to bed, you're okay. On getting up back the next day, you find out that maybe the bed sheet is wet, the pillowcases and the pillow itself is soaked with sweat, that you sweat over the night. So we want to talk about the definition of what night sweat is, the causes of night sweat, and also remedies, to cure on night sweat. Okay, so let's start with the definition of what night sweat is all about. Okay, night sweat is a significant perspiration during sleep. All right, it's a significant perspiration during sleep. Usually has an underlying cause. Okay, it does have something that causes there is something that causes you to always sweat at night. Okay, we talked about a definition being it is a significant perspiration during sleep, usually has an underlying cause. So now let's talk about the causes of night sweat. What will cause you to sweat at night? For no, like, get up in the morning, everywhere is soaked. What causes it? Okay, the first point that I have is menopause. Okay, and before the end of this video, I'm going to explain how menopause causes you to sweat at night. Okay, so the first point that we have is menopause. Menopause can cause you to have a night sweat. Okay, the second point that we have as causes for night sweat is illnesses. Okay, it can be fever, it can be other underlying medical conditions can cause you to have a night sweat. Okay, with the third point we have is medication side effects. Some side effect of medication are night sweat, just so you know. Okay, yeah, medication side effect can cause night sweat. E.g., we have medication, bed control medication can cause you to have night sweat. Okay, yeah, the first one we have menopause, the second point we have illnesses, maybe fever, and then the third point we have on medication side effects such as medication for bed control. Some of the side effect is that you have night sweat. Okay, the fourth point of causes of night sweat, we have too much blankets. A lot, some people sleep with a lot of blankets. I do, but not a lot. Some people sleep with a lot of blanket, and with the blanket on your body, it can cause you to have a night sweat, because of course blanket makes you to feel warm, to feel like heat. Of course you're gonna sweat during the night if you have a lot of blankets on. Okay, the fifth point is that a hot room or sleep where like too warm, like when the room temperature, you want to check with your room temperature, because causes of night sweat can also be the room temperature. Okay, sleeping in a room temperature where it's too hot or it's too warm, you tend to sweat a lot at night, or that can cause you a night sweat. Okay, let's talk about the next point is gonna be sleeping under too many covers, blanket. I already mentioned that. Okay, sleeping under too many covers, blanket, a sheet, or whatever be the case, can cause you to have a night sweat. Okay, the seventh point that I have is that underlying medical conditions such as thyroid problems, getting low blood pressure, sugar, sleep apnea, and infections can cause you to have can cause you to sweat while sleeping. Okay, blood pressure, low sugar level and stuff like that. All right, underlying medical condition, all right, such as thyroid problems, getting low blood sugar, sleep apnea, like not having enough sleep, a good sleep, and also infections can cause you to have to sweat while sleeping. Okay, so these are some of the causes. And then other point that I have, the 8 point that I have for causes of night sweat, is that some people normally sweat more than others. All right, some people normally sweat more than others, and it is a process known as hyperhidrosis. All right, some people by nature are hyperhidrosis. That is, they tend to sweat more than others. I've seen people where even if the temperature is okay, I mean, not to get you like to a point where you sweat a lot, but some people do. Okay, that is because of the abnormalities. Okay, some people are just naturally hyperhidrosis, that irrespective of the temperature where they are, they still get to sweat. That is to say, they sweat a lot more than others. It is normal to some people. Okay, so normally some people sweat a lot than others, and it's known as a process known as hyperhidrosis. Okay, where people tend to sweat more than others. All right, so the 9 point that I have as causes of something that can cause you to sweat at night is cancer. Okay, cancer can present itself with night sweat. Some of the signs and symptoms of cancer, so to some people is night sweat. Yeah, to some people is night sweat. Leukemia and lymphoma are the most common examples. So sometimes when people have night sweat and they go to the hospital, they find out that they have cancer. That is to say, cancer can manifest itself as a symptoms of night sweat. Okay, so the 10th point that I have is night sweat are heavy sweating during sleep. Oh, well, this is just adding to the definition. Night sweat are heavy sweating during sleep, and are often accompanied, or it is reached to a point where you have to change your bed sheet, or before you get up in the morning everywhere is soaked. Okay, this is just laying emphasis on the definition of night sweat. Okay, it is a point where you can't explain what happened, but during the night, of course, you should be sleeping, so you don't know, you can't explain really what happened, but you realize that maybe when you get up in the morning, the whole bed is soaked, it's wet to a point where you have to change the sheet, you have to change your pillowcases, or if you have to air out the mattress and the cases for them to be dry because they are soaked. So that is what we really mean by night sweat. Okay, so the 11th point that I have for causes of night sweat is hormonal problems. Okay, remember I told you we all have a different immune system. Okay, we all have a different immune system. Not everybody is the same, of course. So we all have a different immune system, and some people get to sweat more than others. With the process known as hyperhidrosis, and also some people are affected with this sweat at night due to hormonal problems. So people can be menstrual cycle, whatever be the case. Okay, so these are some of the causes of night sweat. These are some of the things that will cause you to sweat at night. Remember, most temperature is one of the factors. Also, sleeping under a lot of covers also can make you sweat. It must not definitely referring to you having maybe cancer. It can just be due to the temperature, where the good temperature of where you are. It can also be your normalities. Some people are just sweat a lot. All right, so after talking about the definition and some of the causes of night sweat, let's look at some remedies to night sweat. Okay, yeah, let's look at some of the remedies to night sweat. Okay, remedies number one is that solution. In other words, solution to get rid of night sweat number one is to limit the consumption of alcohol. Okay, well, I didn't mention this, but alcohol too can cause you to have night sweat. Okay, and the number one remedy is to limit the consumption of alcohol or caffeine. Okay, there are people who consume maybe alcohol during the day, and then when they go to sleep, during the night they tend to snore and sweat too much because of the alcohol that they consume during the day. So just to bring this to your attention, to consume alcohol in minima, in other words, to consume it in a limited amount. Yeah, don't exaggerate it, even though some people, well, they can't do without it, but if you have to do with it, then you have to consume it in minimum, okay, because it can cause you to have a night sweat, okay. So the second remedy, the solution to night sweat, is that avoid using tobacco and drugs, okay. Well, I didn't mention this also. When you people who smoke or take illegal drugs, they tend to believe, look, 8 out of 10 tend to sweat a lot at night, okay? Because this is a thing. During the day, when you consume this alcohol, this tobacco, when you smoke and consume or intake some illegal drugs like cocaine and stuff like that, during the day you consume it, and at night when you are resting, that is when those drugs like start manifesting themselves when you are asleep, like, because during the day you're walking, moving from one point to another. So at night when your body is resting, that is when they start like actively doing their thing or whatever be the case. So they can cause you to have a night sweat, okay. So just so you know, please quit smoking and consuming illegal drugs like cocaine, okay. So the third point that I have as remedy for night sweat is that sleep in a cooler environment. Sleep in the temperature that is favorable for you, that will not cause you to have night sweat, okay. Some people, even during winter, some people get to sweat, and I ask myself how how did you get here? But it's normal to them. To some people it's very normal, okay. Remember, somebody's abnormalities can be your normalities, and your normalities can be somebody's abnormalities, because we all have different immune system. We all don't treat our body the same way. We all don't take care of our body the way it should be or the way others do, okay. So we have different immune system, okay. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Limit the amount of covers that you put on your body while you're sleeping, and also limit the intake of alcohol and illegal drugs. That will help you a long way, okay. All right. So the fourth point that I have as remedies for sweat, sleeping while sweating, is that avoid eating spicy food, alright. If you have menopause, as it can worsen symptoms, okay. So spicy food tends to, well, this is not applicable to everybody, but people have been complaining of night sweat whenever they maybe eat fast food or food that are too spicy before they go to bed. Because this is the thing that I always tell people: take note of every meal you eat, okay. Not every meal is toxic to your body, or you are not allergic to every meal. You just will identify that particular meal which you are allergic to, and so bring it to the attention of your doctor so you guys can talk about it, okay. Whenever you eat a food or meal or whatever be the case, or fruits, water, whatever be the case, whenever you eat something and something goes wrong immediately after you eat it, then that food has a problem, okay. It's either there is food poisoning, it's either something is not right, it's either you are allergic to maybe one particular ingredient that is in that food, or, well, but something is not right. If you eat food and then at the end of the day, you start feeling like abnormalities, you want to throw up, you start feeling nausea, you start having you start feeling like you scratch your throat or stuff like that, it means there's something. It can be that food, it can be an ingredient in that food, it can be something else, okay. So just bear that in mind whenever you eat and you have some abnormalities. Then you have to seek the consent of your doctor immediately, okay. So now let's talk about how does menopause affect night sleep, okay. I remember I said at the end of the video I'm going to talk about how menopause affects or causes night sweat, okay. So how menopause affect night sweat? That's a lot of questions that of course I will answer right now, okay. Hot flashes and night sweat occurs before and during menopause, okay, because of changing hormone level, including estrogen and progesterone, affecting the body's temperature. Control changes in this hormone level that affect the action of other hormones that are responsible for regulating the body's temperature. Do we all see how menopause can be can cause you to have night sweat? Yeah, so I'm going to take this point one more time over. So the question is, how does menopause affect night sweat? Okay, hot flashes and night sweat occurs before and during menopause. There are people who have night sweat before they enter, like they go to the stage of menopause, and there are people who have night sweat after they have already gotten to the point of menopause. Okay, so it can either occur before menopause or after menopause. Okay, how does this work? Because of changing hormones level. Remember, when we get into menopause, our hormones, even our hormones, of course, they are the ones who detect that, oh, we have got to a point where we can no longer produce, or whatever be the case. Our hormones tells us that. Okay, so change because we have changing hormones level, including estrogens and progesterone, affecting the body's temperature. Remember, these hormones are the ones responsible for our body's temperature. Okay, so when the hormones like detect that, oh, you are at this stage or at this age, at this point, or whatever be the case, and you're maybe experiencing menopause, this hormones changes. And when this hormones changes, it also affects our body temperature. Do we now see how menopause can affect or can cause us to sweat at night? Because menopause is being detected by our hormones. Okay, when our hormones detect that, okay, we are entering, or we are in our menopause stage, of course the hormones in our body, we instead of regulating the temperature, while you always feel like, oh, I mean, this is not applicable to everybody. Okay, some people enter menopause without, sweating at night or whatever be the case, but sometimes menopause can be a cause of a night sweat. Okay, so yeah, because changes of hormones level, including our estrogen and progesterone, affecting the body's temperature. Remember, these are the key terms: estrogen and progesterone. They are the ones who regulate our body temperature. Okay, they regulate the hormones, which of course regulate our body temperature. Okay, also, control changes in this hormone level affect the action of other hormones. Alright. When this estrogen and progesterone affect our hormones, of course, which later on affect our body temperature, changes these changes in this hormone affect changes or different areas of another hormones in our body. And of course, this will lead to a distortion of our body's temperature, which can cause us to sweat. Because at this point, you bear with me that, especially those who are in menopause, you bear with me that you start feeling, there are times where you just feel heat, even though the environment is okay for others. But people who are in menopause, 8 out of 10 feel like heat. They feel this hotness, like warmness. Sometimes they feel this warmness, and then at night they tend to sweat a lot. So these are some of the this is how menopause can affect or can cause you to sweat at night. Okay, so it doesn't mean, like I always say, it doesn't mean that maybe because menopause causes night sweat to person A, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen to you. Okay, well, these things are different per human being. Okay, we don't treat our body the same way, we don't take care of our body the same way. Okay, so if this is applicable to someone, doesn't definitely mean that it's gonna be, oh, for you to experience why you having night sweat is because of menopause. No, there are people in their 20s, they are not in menopause stage, but they do have night sweat. So this is not only the cause. I'm just laying more emphasis, because sometimes when I say things, people interpret it the wrong way. It shouldn't be done like that. Okay, so this does not only mean that, oh, the only time that you have night sweat is when you are in menopause. No, there are people in their early 30s, early 20s. Okay, who sweat at night. Remember, I said earlier that some people, it is normal for them to sweat. All right, some people are just so hyperhidrosis that they tend to sweat more than others. It's their nature. We can't do anything about that. That's the way they were born, that's the way they were created. But still, I'm still emphasizing on the point that the fact that maybe you're sweating at night does not mean you're obviously menopause. Okay, applicable to men or women. Some people are just normally hyperhidrosis. Like I said, they tend to sweat more than others. So menopause is not only the cause that whenever, oh, you sweat and then you start feeling, oh, I'm in menopause. No. Why should you be thinking about menopause in your early 20s if you were? Alright? So yeah, this menopause can be or can cause night sweat, but it's not only the factor, and it's not applicable to everybody, all right? We have other people, when they have illnesses, they tend to sweat. So I mean, they tend to sweat, especially people with fever. People with fever or whatever be the case, they tend to sweat more at night, because when people, statistics have shown that when people have fever, they tend to feel cold, and at the end of the day, they tend to cover the use a lot of covers while sleeping at night, and of course it can cause them to have to sweat at night. That's why I emphasize that illnesses such as maybe fever or so can cause someone to sweat at night, because when you have a fever, obviously you become cold and you want to use as many sheets, blanket as possible to keep you warm, and at the end of the day they become too many and can cause you to sweat. Okay, so yeah, those are the points that I wanted to list out, so you know, not only one, but you know, we have a variety of them. And also, like I said, remedies to every cause is to do the reverse of the cause. Okay, like I said, your medication side effects, you know, sometimes when you go see your doctor, and then you are taking a medication, sometimes it's good to ask your doctor, hey, what do you think are the possibly or are the most common side effect of this medication? Sometimes people use the bathroom a lot when they take particular pills, you know, depending on their system. Sometimes people take antibiotic, and you know, they tend to pee a lot, they start feeling nausea, they start feeling, you know, not feeling too well. So some of the causes of night sweat can be a side effect of a medication. You don't know until maybe you find out from your doctor. And like I will always say, if you are experiencing you know, if you are experiencing night sweat, you know, over and over or continuously, I would advise you to talk to your doctor, because sometimes a night sweat, like I said, can be illustrating something else, even though it is normal to some people. But if I were you, I would check with my doctor to show that it's normal for me. Okay, we don't want to take chances, and then at the end of the day, we're working at the detriment of our own health. Okay, health is all what that matters. All right, so if you feel like you're sweating too much, or out of a sudden you were not that person who usually sweat too much at night, and out of a sudden you start sweating, like I'll seek medical help. I'll talk to my doctor, or phone call, whatever be the case, and talk to him or her that whole. I know I'm not a night, I don't usually sweat at night, but recently I've been sweating a lot at night. I don't know if it's a side effect. Talk to your doctor. It can be a side effect to one of your medications you're taking, or it can be normal for you. But I will always be on the safer side by asking my doctor, so that way, because you know, sweating at night can also illustrate maybe a disease, or I already did mention of cancer. It can be illustrating cancer, it can be illustrating menopause, it can be illustrating a lot of things. You would know until you find out from your doctor. That is why it's very important for us to make use of our doctors, and not really just make use of our doctors, to talk to our doctors, because a lot of people have doctors, but at the end of the day, they don't make use of the doctors. They just believe in what they know, and then it's not so. Okay, believing in what you know sometimes is not helpful, especially when it's not your field of studies, or it's not something that you really know to your fingertips. All right, because a lawyer knowing that, oh, maybe I'm not used to sleeping at night or sweating at night, and then out of a sudden he starts sweating at night, just because he's a lawyer, he said, oh, sweating is normal. It's not normal. It can be normal to some people, but maybe for you it's not normal. So let's stop assuming things and find out from healthcare healthcare you know, doctors or whatever be the case, to find out what is going on with us, because when we assume things, we're doing more harm than good, because assumption by itself is not okay. Let's make sure we're doing things the right way. Okay guys, so I think that's all what I have for you guys. If you have a comment, or if you have a question or a concern, please leave it in the comment section below, and then I'll answer your question as soon as possible. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. Hope you like the video. If you don't mind, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on your notification bell, like the video, share the video. Remember, you might not need this information, but somebody out there need it, and maybe the person will not be able to get it except you share the video. Okay, so guys, keep sharing the video, comment in the comment section what you think, or if you have any opinion, if you have any concern or any question, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll answer it as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a good week.